Boy, if you don't get, I ain't got no chill. What's going on, guys? It's Nuke here. Welcome back to I think this is my first Battlefield 1 video, and oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. Battlefield 1, authentic for women. Now, there have been some fair share of stupid things that feminists have been on about. Now I'm talking about some seriously stupid stuff. And I'm not talking about stuff that some people would think is stupid and other people don't think is stupid. I mean, most people, if you're not insane, would most likely think it's stupid. For example, turning a dildo into a taser or a dishwasher. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a YouTuber named Leafy is here, and he made a video about this a few days ago. You should definitely go check it out. It's really freaking weird. Not Leafy. Leafy's not the weird one. Leafy is perfectly, he's a really cool YouTuber, but the person that he was doing it on, like the whole, he does this like, just go watch it just to understand. But just the person, the feminist that was on his channel was saying she wanted dildos to turn into tasers and dishwashers, and she's ashamed because science hasn't made that yet. That's the stupid stuff I'm talking about. But this, when they come to my video games, ladies and gentlemen, that is where it's not okay, especially because it's Battlefield 1 out of anything. One of the most liked videos on YouTube, Battlefield 1, the most anticipated game of this year and of all time, and there are feminists going after it saying it's sexist. Boy, we're about to watch it. Don't worry, we're about to watch it. Here we go. We're about to just listen to what monstrosity this has on the people who play Battlefield 1. So let's take a look, alright?
Welcome to the Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm Meg Turney.
Hopes are high for Battlefield 1 this fall, but some gamers are taking issue with one recent development about its multiplayer, which will not be adding female playable characters.
That's certainly not new for the series, as it hasn't had any playable women in multiplayer yet anyway, but you know, why not?
It's Battlefield 1!
Basically, one of the few things that we're going over, it just really made me angry. I just really felt like I had to make a video about this. I'm not trying to be anywhere close to what Leafy does, alright? I just felt like I really needed to make a video about this, because this is really, honestly, it's stupid. The things that they're complaining about, it's stupid, that they cannot just be happy with what they've got in the game, that they have to literally complain about every single little thing that is in, you know, video games that is not fair to them as women. Now, what they were complaining about is that it's not fair that they do not have the option to play as a girl in this video game. Now, I would completely understand this if it was any other video game except for Battlefield 1. I don't care about any other Battlefield. It could literally be any other Battlefield, but they choose to pick Battlefield 1 as their complaint of why there's not an ability for you to be a girl in the game. Now, keep in mind, they sound so stupid when they say this stuff because Battlefield 1 takes place during World War. World War. Battlefield 1 takes place during World War I. And in World War I, ladies and gentlemen, World War I, they did not have any women on the battlefield. Women's jobs back in World War I days were usually, if they were in the, like, armed forces, not armed forces, but you know what I mean, they usually were like nurses to support the troops or something like that, where they were not out in the battlefield with guns shooting. Trust me, guys, I'm an idiot, but it does not take a person with brains to know that in World War I there were no women out on the battlefield fighting. And Battlefield is Battlefield, the actual game Battlefield, is trying to stick with it as realistic as possible. They're trying to make the game as realistic as possible. And when you add women into the game, that just completely ruins the whole point of World War I battles. Because again, they're trying to keep this as realistic to World War I as possible. And what's their reasoning of why they should have women in here? Well, their excuses are that
DICE on picking out details that largely go unnoticed about World War I.
Now, the flip side of this argument is that the multiplayer matches require some suspension of disbelief in general. Multiplayer combat in and of itself is pretty unrealistic. I think we can all admit that. So adding female characters doesn't break the illusion in any way.
Well, players for the most part accept that multiplayer doesn't reflect the authenticity or believability of any particular game. For instance, in Halo, there's basically no story or reason for one group of Spartans to be fighting another in multiplayer. That's how we started an entire series.
Yes. And the same goes for any Battlefield game. Every time Japan loses on Wake Island, you're basically breaking history. But we just roll with it because, hey, it's multiplayer, and we understand that it has no bearing or basis in the actual events of the game or story.
This is the same from a gameplay perspective too. There's often abilities that are totally missing in multiplayer that we can do in the main game, but they would be kind of game-breaking in deathmatch, so we just let them go.
Yes. So adding female playable characters isn't really that big of a stretch if you're thinking about it that way, especially
The gameplay mechanics, some of the gameplay mechanics in the game are not realistic to real life. Like, it's suited to fit the player's needs, such as if you're jumping out of a plane and you need to deploy a parachute, or if you're driving a tank and it shuts down automatically. You know, this is stuff that would probably happen in regular World War. You know, somebody jumps out of a plane, they pull their parachute, and it doesn't work. It fails on them and they crash into the ground. Or somebody's driving a tank and all of a sudden, you know, it just shuts down on him and they can't use it anymore. Well, in Battlefield 1, of course, none of this is going to happen, because if this did happen, if you were flying a plane in Battlefield 1 and you were supposed to pull your chute, the thing that you are relying on in a video game where its job in the code is supposed to float you to safety, if it's not doing its job and there's a chance that you most likely are not gonna have your parachute deploy, then the game is gonna get a ton of hate for that. That's something that you really cannot change about a game. So basically what they're saying is, if the gameplay mechanics, some of the gameplay mechanics do not meet up to real life, because it's not realistic sometimes in Battlefield 1, then it would only make sense to add women into the game, right? Because it's already not slightly realistic, so you might as well just add women into the game to make it more non-realistic, because it wouldn't change the gameplay mechanic at all. Now, I have absolutely nothing against women being in video games. I really don't care. I mean, that's great. If you want to add women into the game, great. That's awesome. But this specific game, when you have the battlefield set in World War I, when no women were supposed to be on the battlefield, and now you guys are picking a time. I mean, Battlefield has never ever had women in their games, ever, as a playable character, and nobody's complained about it up until now. I mean, you wanted a World War I styled game, you got a World War I styled game. You wanted it to be as realistic as possible, boom, it's realistic as possible. Oh, now you guys are angry because they can't add women into it? Well, doesn't that defeat the second purpose of it being as realistic to World War I as possible? Anyways, going on back to the subject they were saying, basically they're saying if the core mechanics do not meet up to real life expectations, then adding women into the game shouldn't make a difference, right? But that's basically like, here, let me give you guys a comparison to all those feminists that are watching. Let me give you guys a comparison. That's like saying, in GTA 5, right? If you go 50 miles an hour and then you hit a tree, if you guys have played GTA, you know that that tree does not do anything. That tree stays there, and it's most likely your car out of anything that gets damaged, and not the tree. However, in real life, if you were to go 50 to 80 miles an hour at full speed at a tree, and the car crashed into a tree, even if it was a tiny tree, you know, the tree would most likely go flying. It would, well, not flying, but it'd most likely break. In some way, shape, or fashion, it would break. Something would break on it. As opposed to GTA, if you went 50 to 80 miles an hour to it, you know, nothing would happen. The tree would not change whatsoever. Same thing with, like, driving into a building. On GTA, if you drive into a building going 80 miles an hour, the building will not be affected whatsoever. Your car, again, will be the thing that's damaged and not the building. However, in real life, if you went 50 to 80 miles an hour straight into, I don't know, just your regular everyday building, you'd probably drive straight through the wall and probably go 5 walls in. So since the GTA gameplay mechanics don't really meet up to real life, that means all women in GTA should be invincible, correct? Does that make any bit of sense whatsoever, guys? No sense whatsoever, and that's exactly what they're trying to say for Battlefield. Since the gameplay mechanics do not meet up to real life and Battlefield, then it wouldn't make any sort of difference adding women in. Are you kidding me? And then their second excuse for it is,
but of course, there are some players upset over the fact that you can't choose to play as a woman in the multiplayer. After all, that's an option in Call of Duty. They've had that since Ghosts in 2013, plus Black Ops 3 even let you play as a woman for the main character of the campaign.
Battlefront, another DICE game, also allowed playable female characters in multiplayer. And even taking all of that out of the equation, it's 2016. Just about every game that has any sort of customization has a male or female as its.
Their second excuse for why they should add women into the game is, come on guys, it's 2016. Black Ops 3 already did it, Call of Duty Ghosts already did it, I think Advanced Warfare already did it, so why can't you guys do it? Yeah, you're right guys, it's 2016. Let's just put nails on our toes and kick a wall constantly because, hey, it's 2016. Why don't we just go next door and shoot our neighbors with a shotgun because, hey guys, it's 2016. Why don't I just grab this bottle of bleach here and drink it because, come on guys, it's 2016. Really, that's all I really gotta say about it, guys. There's nothing else really to say about this. It just angers me so much that feminists would say this about Battlefield 1. I mean, if you're saying this about any other Battlefield, again, I would totally get it. I don't understand why they wouldn't add women in maybe Battlefield Hardline or Battlefield 4 or Battlefield other Battlefields than this one. But why do they have to pick this Battlefield out of all of them to say, well, women aren't in this game as a playable character, I'm triggered, I am fully triggered. Where if they actually would just take time and just enjoy the game for how it is, realize that this takes place in World War I when women did not have a role out on the battlefield, then this would just be a great game to them, and there really isn't a reason why they should make this such a big deal. And considering that this video has 23,000 dislikes and only 3,000 likes, that's huge. 3,000 likes and 23k dislikes. That means that most of the majority of those people probably would agree with me. Anyways, that's my little rant on this, guys. If you guys did enjoy, don't forget to hit that like button. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below, guys. I really want to know your opinions. It's something else, man. It's something else. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. My name's NukeMed2026 as always, and I'm out. Peace.